Hi friends, I'm Elise and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a sociologist and I create travel, society, and culture content. In this video, I'm going to be going over how I spent my 6 days on Big Island, what I learned, and how to potentially avoid some mistakes on your trip, such as how to potentially save hundreds of dollars on car rentals if you're going to visit Hilo and then Kona like I did. I'll also talk about the Hilo side of the island, including my recommendations, the 10 distinct climates on the island, and the differences between the Hilo and Kona sides. At the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can find more information about Big Island, including where to find a complete itinerary for a first-time visit. If you enjoy this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and if you're interested in travel and culture content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I also want to preface by saying that I do not speak Hawaiian, but I will do my absolute best to pronounce Hawaiian words correctly, and I apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. All right, let's get to it. Big Island arrival. I arrived in Hilo via a Hawaiian Airlines flight from Honolulu. The inter-island flights leave about every hour and are generally reasonably priced. I departed Honolulu at about 7 p.m. and arrived 45 minutes later. The ticket was only $79. Besides Hawaiian Airlines, Southwest Airlines and Mukalele Airlines are available. Getting to baggage claim was just a short walk away with one flight of stairs. After picking up my luggage, I headed over to the rental car counter. Let's first talk about transportation in Hilo. I would recommend looking into getting a rental car for Big Island, otherwise you're going to have a tough time. It is possible to get around with a Hele-On Bus, and you can go to heloonbus.org to plan your trip with the bus. There are around 10 taxi companies on the Hilo side also, and of course you can schedule guided tours to get around. The rental car area is in the airport's parking lot and was only a few hundred feet away from the baggage claim area. And for car rentals, you can choose from Alamo, Avis, Budget, Dollar, Enterprise, Hertz, National, and Payless. Most of the rental car companies stay open from about 9 to 10 p.m. every night. I choose Enterprise because I've never had a bad experience with the company and the employees are always very friendly. I rented a Nissan Altima, which worked just fine during my trip since you can't take rental cars off-road or up to the Mauna Kea summit anyway. The smaller sedan wasn't a deal breaker for me. Initially, I had difficulty renting a vehicle. I looked through all the available rental car companies and found picking up a car in Hilo and then dropping it off a few days later in Kona was very expensive. For 2 days in Hilo with a Kona drop-off, the original price was around $1,000. However, I only ended up paying a little over $100 for the Hilo rental and a few hundred for the Kona rental. Tip number 1, here's what I did to save over $600 on a rental car. I rented a car for 2 days in Hilo and then dropped the car back off on Hilo on the day I went to Kona. I made a separate reservation for a single day Hilo rental with a Kona drop-off. When I got to Kona on that same day, I briefly stopped by the Enterprise in Kona to start the third reservation. I kept the same Nissan Altima for all 3 reservations. Tip number 2, rent a car way ahead of time. Enterprise told me that they have reservations for a year in advance. Some people don't end up picking up their reservations, but because the vehicles are reserved, the company doesn't like to rent them out. Tip number 3, some people resort to renting U-Hauls. I'm not kidding. I saw a few tourists with U-Hauls because they couldn't find a rental car or the rental cars were more expensive than renting a U-Haul at the time. Now that we've discussed getting around, let's talk about where to sleep in Hilo and why you're not going to find big fancy resorts there. Hilo is more of a local city. You'll notice on the Hawaiian Islands that most of the nice resorts are on the western side of the islands. This is due to climate differences. The Big Island is interesting because it has 10 distinct climates according to the Köppen climate classification system. As you venture around the island, you'll experience different climates, so you'll need to bring clothes for each experience. The western side of the island, the Kona side, has arid and semi-arid climates, or what's called a desert climate. The eastern side, the Hilo side, stays nearly continuously wet and has what is called a rainforest climate. The northern tip of the island has desert, savanna, and rainforest climates, and the southern part of the island has mostly a savanna climate. As you venture up the mountains in the center of the island, the volcanoes Volcanoes, you'll first experience continuously wet, followed by dry, and then a polar climate as you go farther up into the mountains. I have a free climate map on my website at eliseola.com under the blog post about Big Island if you're interested in more climate information for your visit. There's a downloadable map that'll help you plan what you'll need to wear and bring as you venture around the island. I'll include a link in the description below. Because of the climate on the eastern side of the island, you're not going to find big resorts in Hilo, and getting around the city will be more of a challenge unless you rent a car. Most of the hotel options in Hilo are rental properties or bed and breakfast. However, there are a few traditional hotels such as the Grand Naniloa by Hilton, SCP Hilo Hotel, and the Castle Hilo Hawaiian Hotel. I chose to stay in the Grand Naniloa Hotel. It's a Hilton hotel and the company recently renovated part of the rooms. They didn't renovate the bathrooms, but the bed area is renovated. The lobby and grounds were nice. The hotel offers a beautiful view of Hilo Bay in the mountains. There's a small pool, a large renovated lobby with a bar, and a snack shop. You can also book tours on site, and you can rent paddleboards, kayaks, and more. Parking does appear to be a pain here, but I found out later there is additional free parking across the street at the golf course. The hotel does have temporary policies due to the pandemic, so keep in mind that you'll need to request room service 24 hours in advance, and if you want to access the gym, you'll need to make a reservation at the front desk. I booked very close to my arrival date, so I ended up paying quite a bit for 3 nights. However, room rates seem to usually run somewhere between $150 to $250 per night as of this video post. Moral of the story, book ahead of time if possible. The Castle Hilo Hawaiian Hotel is a 3.5-star hotel. It has a pool, a nice view of the bay, a gym, and some rooms have balconies. As of this video, the rooms appear to cost around $139 to $200 per night. The SCP Hilo Hotel is also a 3.5-star hotel. It has a pretty nice lobby, a gym, and pool, and it's just a short walk away from the bay. And at least some or maybe all of the rooms appear to be renovated. The prices at this hotel also seem to run about $139 to $200 per night. And if you go to Hilo and arrive late like I did, you'll find that most restaurants close at 9 p.m. or earlier. Because I got in late, I ended up driving to Pizza Hut for takeout. There were only a handful of fast food options open at the time, and it was only a 6-minute drive away from the hotel. There was also a CVS nearby where I could pick up some water. Day 1, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. I went to Sweet Cane Café for breakfast before heading over to the park. It's a vegetarian restaurant that is health conscious. I got immune shots, a sandwich, a sugarcane juice. The sugarcane juice was hands down the best sugarcane juice I've ever had. The park is about a 40-minute drive from the hotel. I got to the park at about 2 p.m. If you're in a private vehicle, you can get a pass for $30. It's good for 7 days, and the pass works in other national parks. This will be a good option if you plan to visit other national parks on your trip, such as the volcano in Maui. I opted for the $80 interagency pass, which works for an entire year. While the park is open 24 hours, 7 days a week, the visitors center and the bathroom shut down at 5 p.m. Also, the lights inside the Thurston lava tube shut off at 8 p.m. Upon entry, I stopped at the visitor center for a map. At the visitor center, you can get the weather conditions, see if anything's closed, and speak with a park ranger if you have any questions. There are some closures in effect since the 2018 volcanic eruptions. Tip number 4, bring warm clothes and a rain jacket or umbrella. It can get pretty cold up on the mountain at the visitor center, but as you get towards the bottom of the park at the Punaluʻu Trail, it'll get much warmer again. It took about 5 hours to get through the entire park. I started by heading right outside of the visitors center to see the summit of Kilauea, the Halemaumau crater, the steam vents, and the sulfur banks. Once done, you'll need to head back up towards the visitor center to get to the rest of the park. I stopped by the Thurston lava tube before heading further down the Chain of Craters Road, and I spent quite a bit of time exploring the Mauna Kea lava flows from 1969 to 1974. At the bottom, you can't get much farther than the Whole AC Arch, so after admiring the lava cliffs, you'll have to head back up the mountain to exit. For dinner, I went to Hawaiian-style cafe in Hilo. They're open until 9 p.m. on some weekend nights, but have earlier hours on others, and they shut down midday for lunch. The menu's pretty big. I got the mixed plate option to try a few selections, and for dessert, I had the homemade lilikoi pie, which is like a passion fruit topped cheesecake. It was all really good. Day 2, Papakōlea Green Sand Beach, Punaluʻu Black Sand Beach, Old Kona Airport State Park, and Mauna Kea. On day 2, I decided to explore the southern part of the island. After stopping by Popover for some breakfast sandwiches, I headed towards Kalae, or what's called South Point. On the way to South Point, I stopped at Cow Coffee Farm, which was pretty busy and had a lot of people ordering fraps and smoothies. I ended up sampling a few coffees and bought some coffees to take home. My first destination was Punaluʻu Black Sand Beach. It was very easy to park along the road at the beach. Upon entry, I noticed there was a snack stand, a picnic area, and restrooms, and there are also coconut trees surrounding the beach, which beachgoers use to get out of the sun. The black sand and lava rocks stay much warmer than their lighter counterparts. It's also common to find sea turtles in this area, either swimming near the shore or laying on the beach. To get to South Point, you'll take the highway to Kamaoa Road before turning onto South Point Road. From there, it'll just be miles of cow farms and a dirt road until you reach the end. Parking is free, but be careful to stay within the permitted area. A native Hawaiian burial ground is nearby, and that area is restricted. South Point is the southernmost point of the entire United States. A lot of people come here to cliff dive. There's a ladder that you can use to get back up to the top. Also, people enjoy swimming underneath the cliffs to underwater caves. The tides are very strong and the jump is quite high. You can also visit Papakōlea Green Sand Beach in this area, since green sand beaches are one of the rarest types in the world, but you'll either have to hike 5 miles or break rules. You can't take rental cars off-road, and oftentimes there are people here that will take you to the beach for $20, but this is illegal. After South Point, I headed towards Old Kona Airport Beach State Park, but first I stopped at Real Aloha Poke and Fish Company. The poke was really good and the owners were really nice. I will definitely go again. I arrived at Old Kona Airport at about 6 p.m. to watch the sunset. There were a lot of mongooses running around, and while I sat on the rocks, they would just scamper right past my feet. And this is how I learned that Big Island has a mongoose problem, which started with owner of sugar plantations trying to get rid of their rodent problem in 1883. After sunset, I got some snacks and a coffee at a local grocery store in Kona, and then I wanted to try Sweet Journey soft serve. They make organic soft serve ice cream out of Big Island macadamias. I really liked it, and I would recommend trying it. Then I headed to Mauna Kea. It was a 1 hour 45-minute drive to the visitor center from Kona. Mauna Kea was a great experience. Before visiting Mauna Kea, I used timeanddate.com to find out when the moonrise was going to be, so the moonlight did not interfere with my stargazing. It's unbelievable how many stars you can see. I used the Sky Guide app to inspect the stars. And even though I had fleece pants, a long sleeve shirt, and a winter hat, I was freezing at the visitor center, so I had to get in the car numerous times to warm up. Tip number 5, prepare for the freezing temperatures at Mauna Kea by bringing winter attire, especially if you plan on visiting the summit. Next time I will bring my full winter wardrobe. After visiting Mauna Kea, Bjorn and I realized that our phones did not give the best predictions for the weather at the visitor center and at the summit. The iPhone weather app and Bjorn's favorite weather app called Carrot told us that Mauna Kea was cloudy, but when we got to the visitor center, we found that the clouds were actually below us, so we had no problem seeing the stars. Tip number 6, you can visit the official Mauna Kea Observatory website to get up-to-date information about the weather, and that's what I'll be using the next time I visit. Day 3, moving to Kona. On day 3, I packed up and headed over to the Kona side of the island after having breakfast again at Sweet King Café. I was supposed to depart this day, but I enjoyed my time so much, and I hadn't really explored the Kona side as much as I wanted. I booked the Waikoloa Beach Marriott Resort and Spa that morning. I actually had trouble finding a hotel because most hotels were fully booked. The service at the Marriott was great. I really liked Debbie at the front desk. She was always super nice and helpful and took care of everything that we needed. On this day, I hung out at the hotel, ended up having dinner at Umekes Fish Market in the industrial area. The food was really good. I will definitely go here again. I also went to the Puna Chocolate Company around the corner from Umekes and bought some coffee, coconut macadamias, and some macadamia chocolate. Day 4, exploring Kona and pool day. I found out that there wasn't a lot open for breakfast in the hotel area. There was one restaurant and a coffee shop on site, and that was it. There are a few restaurants in the Queens Marketplace and King shops down the street, and while I was out exploring, I found out that there will be an Island Vintage Coffee opening up their very first shop in Big Island soon at the King's shops. When I go to Big Island again, you can catch me at Island Vintage Coffee every single day for breakfast without shame. I ended up having breakfast at the Island Gourmet Market nearby every single day because I didn't really want full table service, and the only other option nearby was Starbucks. The rest of this day, I just explored the island and I went to the beach at the hotel and enjoyed the pools. We also got groceries and barbecued at the Marriott for dinner. Day 5, Pu'uhonua O Hōnaunau and Honaunau Bay and Kekaha State Park. If you're going to snorkel, you can pick up some snorkeling gear for a reasonable price at the Island Gourmet Market at the Queens Marketplace. I paid $29 for a pro snorkel and $30 for fins. I personally didn't want to rent snorkeling gear, but I believe that option also exists close by. I had researched snorkeling in Hawaii and decided that I wanted to visit Honaunau Bay because the coral reef makes it a great snorkeling spot. If you pick up a national park pass from the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, you can use it to park and get entrance to Pu'uhonua O Hōnaunau. The tour of the grounds is self-guided. The grounds are a sacred site. It is the resting grounds of 23 former Keawe chiefs. There are strict rules in this place for this reason. Make sure you pick up a map at the visitor's entrance as well as the rules for the game Kalae if you want to play the ancient Hawaiian strategy game. At the royal grounds, you can see inside canoe houses and view the ancient royal canoe landing, which was actually an area that was forbidden to all commoners. And you can view the royal fish ponds. The site has a reconstruction of an ancient Hawaiian temple as well. Afterward, you can walk around the corner to Honaunau Bay. I was not as prepared for this snorkeling experience as I would like to have been, so listen up and don't be like me. While there is a coral reef and there is rich marine life, the area is kind of dangerous. The current is very strong and it can push you into the rocks. There are jagged edges and there are thousands of sea urchins in the pits of the rocks and just on the bottom underwater, so you have to be very careful. I saw a few people bleeding from hitting rocks and sea urchins, and I noticed quite a few eels in the rocks below me underwater. Getting into the water is also a challenge. I only felt safe entering the water from the center of the rocks. There is an area that looks like a seat which you can sit down on and then push yourself out into the water. I did some research afterward and found that there are boat tours that will drop you off into the middle of the water and wait for you to finish snorkeling before taking you back. If I do snorkel here again, I will probably opt for the boat tour. If you choose the boat option, you just have to be mindful of spinner dolphins near the bay. Afterward, I wanted to snorkel in safer waters, so I headed towards Kekaha State Park. But first, I stopped at Shaka Tacoz for some pretty good fish tacos. I was surprised at how many geckos there were on the patio, and they were not shy at all. They actually would just walk right up to my plate, and they tried to eat my mango salsa so many times. So cute. Kekaha State Park was really nice. The park closes at 6:30 and the gates lock at 7. The beach had white sand, calm water, and had showers and restrooms. The fish in this area were not as vibrant as the bay, but there were some blue and striped fish swimming around, and when I was swimming between rocks, I almost ran into more sea urchins, so you'll still have to be careful in this area. Day 6, Kukio Beach, Mountain Thunder, and departure. My checkout time was 11 a.m., but the flight didn't leave until 8 p.m., so I spent the day exploring and wanted to see at least one coffee farm. I went to Umekes fish market again for one last meal in Hawaii. I had the ahi katsu and Bjorn had 2 scoops of poke and grilled ahi belly. All of it was fantastic. We stopped by the Puna chocolate store again because we wanted to purchase some local made art pieces and purchase more coffee to take home. After I drove to Mountain Thunder Coffee Farm, it's about 3,200 feet up on a volcano in the Kona Coffee Bell area. Their goal is to make the best coffee and they're meticulous. They have coffee processing tours every 30 minutes and tours take 15 minutes. Our tour guide Marty was very friendly and knowledgeable. Bjorn and I both enjoyed the tour. You can also take a self-guided tour around the farm for $10 per family. After the coffee farm, it was about 4 p.m. so I headed to Kukio Beach. I was pleasantly surprised by this beach. It's near the Four Seasons Resort, but since all beaches must be public by Hawaiian law, you can still get access to the beach. There's just a little additional security. First, you'll need to visit the security entrance to get a pass and get your name put down on a visitor's log. Then you'll be able to get past the security gate to enter. The beach was beautiful. There were showers and restrooms as well. Bjorn and I agreed we would both visit Kukio Beach again on our next visit. After that, I just dropped off the car at Enterprise. I just handed in a key to an associate, hopped on the shuttle bus, and arrived at the airport about 2 to 3 minutes later. Checking in and boarding the aircraft was straightforward. When you board, you'll board on the tarmac and you will need to carry your luggage up a metal staircase. So that wraps up this video of how I spent my time when I went to Big Island and what I learned on my trip. If you've been to Big Island, leave me a comment below with your travel suggestions. I'd love to talk to you about your experience. If you're interested in more information about Big Island, check out the Big Island series on my website, eliseleola.com. The blog posts have way more information than what I included in this video, such as a detailed climate map, a brief history of Big Island, and a downloadable itinerary. And if you're interested in more information about the Kona side of the island and want a complete itinerary for a first-time visit, check out my other YouTube video. All the links will be in the description. Aloha and thanks for watching.